Good evening and welcome to November's community meeting. This evening, I am so pleased to welcome Bianca and Erica from Feet First Clinic. Day in and day out, Bianca works hard to ensure Feet First Clinic runs smoothly. Bianca has a passion for fitness and is dedicated to helping people take care of their feet and their bodies. There is no problem she can't solve, and she believes where there is will, there is a way. Erica works behind the scenes, writing and editing content for the blog and website. A writer by trade, Erica brings a wealth of knowledge on pain management from years of experience in the medical field, or the medical legal field. Please welcome Bianca and Erica.
Thank you so much, Melissa, and welcome everybody tonight. We're so glad to be here and to be invited to share some knowledge with you on some foot health.
Oh, sorry, bear with. So some of you are probably wondering, apart from the fact of why we suddenly have technical difficulties, probably wondering what are we doing here today and what are we actually, and well, why should I care? Why do feet matter? Well, our feet are our body's foundation, and just like any foundation, like if it were a house, when the foundation starts to crack and there's problems, it can impact all the other parts. When there's an issue with our feet, it can have a domino effect because everything in our body is connected. So something in your feet can then impact your ankles, which then can go to your knees and then your hips and your back. And next thing you know, you've got pain all over. So our feet do a lot for us because they literally have to support all our body weight. And they have to carry a very big load. And because of that, they're very prone to a lot of issues. So they require a lot of special care and attention. Maintaining our foot health it's a big part of our everyday health, of our overall health. And if they do get neglected, if we don't take care of them, it can lead to other problems. So fortunately, there are a lot of things that you guys can do at home every day, or when you can, to take care of your feet, both preventatively and also to help treat and manage many foot conditions. And that is why we are here today, to give you our top tips about what you can do at home to help treat and prevent foot issues. Just a little time, few quick steps that can go a really long way towards maintaining your foot health, and it can really help you a lot in the long run. And just so you know, we will be, so after we give you our tips, we'll be having a quick quiz. I put a link in the chat window, so when we get there, we'll let you know. And put in your email address at the end, and whoever answers the most questions right will be put into a draw for a prize.
However, if that isn't okay, Melissa, we could do it by number, and then you'll know the number of the participants, and then you can contact them for any privacy issues.
Oh, so all up to me.
It's all up to you. Blame it on
Yeah, that's great.
All right. So today's overview about Feet First Clinic and all that we do and who we are as a team. Everyday foot care, so at-home things that you guys can do at home. How to find help. So that's us in the chiropodists, giving you all the resources and tools we possibly can. And then lastly, how you can be in touch with us. So from all of our blogs, our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. We've just now started on YouTube. So just to be in touch with all the foot care things that you would need to know on a weekly, monthly basis. About us. So I founded Feet First Clinic in 2009, 12 years ago. It's been one of the best experiences of my life. And our main focus is to provide education to our clients, whether it's an actual patient that comes and books an appointment or brand new people that just walk off the street into our store. We want to arm people with the information because that goes a really long way. And I feel like that's something people never forget, giving them the tools that they can do to take care of their feet that carry us every single day and it allow us to do all the fun things that we like to do. So I have a team of 11 amazing staff, and I feel so fortunate and grateful every single day. Starting off with Carolina, she's the person that you would be in contact with if you answer the phone and any of our emails. She's been amazing. And one thing I can say when it comes to insurance, she is our go-to girl. She is an encyclopedia, remembers every single company's coverage, you name it, she knows it. Sophie, she's at the front end of the clinic dealing with all, everybody that walks in, checking out, and she's also the person that manages our social media account. Joe, he's our marketing director, and he really helps guide us and put the best practices in, for SEO, for Google Ads, and marketing is such a key component to a business. For those of you who are interested in opening one or maybe have one, without marketing, it's pretty hard, regardless of location, to bring in clients on a consistent basis. And Erica, she's actually front end as well of the clinic, but really focuses on the blogs and Facebook. So overall, that is our team. For the chiropodist, we have 4 on staff. We're here 6 days a week. And what is a chiropodist? Some people may not know or have never heard this word. It's something that we hear quite often. They are a foot specialist, and they've gone to school specifically for 3 years at Michener Institute, just focusing on feet solely and the lower extremities. So it comes from assessment for pain management, treatment, any sort of condition like an ingrown toenail, maybe a corn, for example, providing any sort of recommendations for any device that will help you on a daily basis, or even referring you to another practitioner if the care that you need isn't offered here. Patient care is truly our #1 focus and care. We ensure that all clients are satisfied. We go through the patient history from the very beginning. We want to understand sort of a bit of background. We want to see the type of shoes you're wearing, because the shoes really do play a pivotal part in your actual foot care, and are always open to answering any questions that you may have and ensuring that you actually understand what is happening within your appointment. So 4 main points that happen in an appointment is informing and educating our client. You have 40 minutes with that chiropodist in your initial assessment, so all questions are welcome. We also use jargon that you actually understand, so ensuring that whatever we're communicating makes sense to you. Long-term solutions, we're not just like a bring you in every single week and want to waste your time and money. We want to ensure that you have long-term solutions that will carry you and that you can implement to your daily life. And it's super easy. It's going to be something that's natural. You don't have to think about once you start that routine or wear the proper device or shoe. And then also, we're not just a foot clinic. One thing I've truly strived to be is aesthetically beautiful upstairs. And if you ever stop by or even go on Google, you'll see our clinic. Detail really matters to me. Selling actual shoes, not just display models so that you can try them on. And I obviously can't carry all of the different shoes for every single brand, but we can custom order for you, specific lengths, widths, and depths. Also, for people that may have a bunion and other foot conditions, we can order shoes specifically for your conditions to work around those ailments that you may have. And we really aren't about pushing people to go to surgery. That isn't something we do, but we would refer on if that's something necessary. We're the prevention point, and we want to sort of work with what you have or what your foot has turned into based on the activities or the shoes you've worn in the past. We also have custom orthotics. We cast by plaster cast. It's the old way that they sort of started out doing things. We also do have a scanner because we want to keep up to date as well. And different foot aids, like a plantar fasciitis sock, for example, easy to slip on unless you have the time to be taping your feet every few days. That's another thing that we would show you as well.
So educating and communicating and raising awareness about foot care and foot issues and how to take care of your feet, and taking the stigma out of foot care is a big component of Feet First. And that is precisely why we are here today, because we want to give you the knowledge and the tools you need to keep your feet happy and healthy. And there is a lot that we can just do on our own for that. So before we get into our top tips, we're wondering if there are any questions, and we're going to go into the chat window as well, just to see what questions you guys have. So before we move on, please let us know your questions.
So one of our members is asking, is your service covered by OHIP?
Our service is not covered by OHIP, unfortunately. So it's a paid service. Our initial visit is $95. And if you are fortunate enough to have group insurance, it is covered under the chiropody umbrella. So it would just be a chiropodist visit. Any of our services would fall within that umbrella.
One of our members has another question. Do you have physio and do you help with arthritis?
Yes, we do. Foot arthritis, the tiny joints and muscles in our feet are very, very prone to a lot of issues and to arthritic flare-ups. So that is one of the things that our chiropodists do help with. In terms of physio, we don't have physiotherapists on site, but our chiropodists will examine your feet, and they will prescribe a bunch of exercises that you can do for that, and they'll make recommendations.
And we'll refer out as well for that.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
We're located in the Bloor West Village, between Jane and South Kingsway on the south side of Bloor. So if subway, you get off at Jane, and if you're driving, you get off at South Kingsway.
Okay, and I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
What causes foot fungus, and can you get rid of it without it reoccurring?
So I can't say specifically what causes foot fungus, because sometimes people get it and they don't realize when they got it, or how they sort of got that, how they got it on their nails. But I would say it's sometimes you're in public areas where there's somebody else was infected, and then, you know, you seem to come in contact with that. Usually like pool areas, public places, gyms, those kind of things.
And they can be foot fungus, depending on where it is. It can be a little stubborn and it can persist. So especially if it's under the toenails, because it hides under there, and therefore whatever you apply on it can't quite penetrate the toenails. So that's something that our chiropodist, that would be a really good thing to see a chiropodist for, because they can actually have ways to get under there and more effectively treat that foot fungus.
Another question we're seeing is why are orthotics so uncomfortable and actually make feet and knees and arthritis feel worse. So unfortunately, some people have had a bad experience with orthotics. However, every person, like every chiropodist that's making it, is different, and it's a craft. I would say don't be put off by that. Maybe try again. They are definitely an investment. They're $500, but they really should be helping. Not everybody needs an orthotic, so it's not like, you know, everyone should be wearing them, but most shoes, regardless of the price tag on the shoe, don't come with specified, you know, pressure points or offloading things like a metatarsal pad in the middle of your foot that would take some pressure off of an issue that you may be having. So I would say maybe try again, or you can also ask that person that made them, whether it was a physio, chiro, or chiropodist, to modify them, because not always the first time do we get it right, and us too. I would love to say we're perfect, but unfortunately we're not. And there's no charge for us within the first 3 months, and that should be, you know, wherever you go as well. So they really shouldn't make your feet worse.
And the next one is for painful bunions, any suggestions? So there's a few things, and we'll get to that. Actually will tie into some of our tips, and some of these tips will help you with bunions. And also we're going to give you, we have a whole bunch of information and resources on bunions that we will give you at the end of this presentation. So that would probably also be a good place to start offhand. First thing with bunions. Yeah, one thing with bunions is that if you wear high heels, that is a very, very common contributor to bunions. So that footwear, it plays a huge component in bunions, and we'll get a little more into that. Kind of ties into some of our tips for how it can for bunions. And certainly if we don't answer and quite touch on answering that question, feel free to ask it again later, and then we can elaborate a little more. Are there any other questions?
Thank you for that.
All right. So now we are going to give you our top tips for how you can manage foot care at home as soon as our presentation decides. There we go. Success. Yay. So everyday foot care.
All right, so starting off, footwear is the most important thing that you can do for yourself. Doesn't matter the price, it doesn't matter the name brand. Knowing the components within a shoe that meet your foot needs is the first thing that you need to understand. 80% of people actually have foot issues, and causes them bunions, hammer toes, painful feet, tired feet, you name it, and that's usually the root cause. You can put an orthotic into an old shoe and it really won't have the same effect as putting into a good shoe. Both need to be, the shoe needs to complement the orthotic, and even without the orthotic, a shoe can do wonders for you. So we will get through, the key components to look for within a shoe to arm you when you're shopping. So a good shoe, go ahead, Erica.
First, it should fit properly. That a lot of people have ill-fitting shoes. A lot of people also don't always, because we're so used to not wearing comfortable shoes, we don't even realize if a shoe isn't fitting us properly. You should have about a ½ inch between your longest toe and the end of the shoe. You should not be feeling the end of that shoe against your toes. You should have enough width. Tying back to bunions, you do not want bunions. One thing that can aggravate or even cause bunions is when your footwear is too narrow, because it puts a lot of pressure on that joint at the base of your toe, which causes it to stick out, and then you get a bunion. So fit is huge.
I would also like to add, when you take your feet out of a shoe, if there's only any sort of redness or tenderness, that is a good telltale to say that shoe is probably too small for you. So something to look at, self-diagnose. Yeah, pretty key thing.
You want to be able to wiggle your toes in your shoes. If you can't wiggle your toes.
And don't be fixed on the size. So if you're a size 8, that doesn't mean you're going to be across the board a size 8. Fitting shoes for so many years, nobody likes to be a half size or a whole size larger. But don't be stuck on that. Even if we size you, properly with the right utensil, we can still put you in a shoe that's a different size. So I would go based on the shoe fit. For example, one of our companies, Nail, they're made in Israel. Their feet seem to be smaller there. Their cut is just smaller. So people go down a full size. So sometimes wrapping your head around a shoe size can be very challenging. Arch support is key. When people have knee pain, back pain, you think it's the back and that's doing that, but really it's the feet in most cases. We need to support our whole body. We don't want our feet, let's say they're supposed to be like this, going inward, pronating or supinating. We want to support things in a neutral fashion, making sure our body is fully supported. Good heel counter. So what does that mean? If you can't push the heel down in the shoe, that is a really good sign. These are Asics Nimbus. Absolutely love these. So that's a great thing to look for. Nikes, love all of the different name brands and stuff. And I would say those are more for fashion. This is something I would wear if I was going for, a heavy duty walk, hike kind of thing. And the Nikes I would wear more fashionable, everyday sort of urban wear kind of thing, I would say. Don't be stuck on the name as well. Whether it's Saucony, New Balance, Brooks, the Hoka, they're all fantastic brands, and that's what they specialize in. So just something to consider when you're shopping. Your foot health. So depending on the type of feet that you have is the type of shoes you need to be wearing. So for example, someone that has a neutral foot would do really well in a neutral shoe like this Nimbus. Has tons of cushioning, great arch support. Having laces is also a really great component to a shoe to give you that extra support of extra control in your foot. And the whole thought process of the shoe, which we probably don't consider on a daily basis, is if your shoe doesn't fit properly, the amount of extra work that your feet actually have to do, so maybe they're tired at the end of the day, people that just slip their shoe in and out and don't actually untie their shoe, you're really not doing your foot, you're not doing well for your foot, and you're also not giving the longevity of a shoe the chance because of the rubbing within the heel. So tying your shoes or Velcro properly every day is great. Tying your foot in this position first, kicking back your heel for starters is also super important, because if your foot is already, you know, hitting the top of the shoe, and every step that you make, it's hitting, you may have, let's say, bruised toes. You may feel that your, you know, toes are painful at the end of the day, and it could just be the positioning that you've laced up at the beginning of your day. So just some things to keep in mind. And a lot of people are really stuck on, you know, the shoe looks good, even though it's 8 years old. Just like anything, the shoes have a lifespan. And if you're wearing them on a daily basis, I would encourage you to change your shoes at least once a year. And if you're an avid runner and walker in those same shoes, maybe twice a year, or having 2 pairs to last you the full year. So just keep on top of your shoes. The bottom of the soles of the shoes will also tell you. Sometimes people, you know, maybe heavier set may wear down the sole a little quicker. Again, just some things to keep in mind. You guys be the judge.
So our next tip is practice good foot hygiene.
All right. So keeping your feet clean is key. If you're not showering every day, at least wipe your feet down. Make sure your feet are clean. None of us like foot odor. And if you're a person that likes to wear socks without in your shoes, that's totally fine, but you can definitely expect a smell. There's no going around that, unfortunately. If you are that person, because I too like to wear socks with no socks in the summer with shoes, just throw your shoe in the wash if it is like a running shoe or some sort of soft shoe.
So for cleaning your feet, when you do clean your feet, you want to make sure you use some soap. You want to scrub. Make sure you get in between the toes, because a lot of moisture and bacteria can grow in between the toes. And then of course you want to dry thoroughly. You want to make sure your feet are completely dry, including that area in between the toes, so that before you put your socks and your shoes on. We recommend using a foot file and exfoliating your feet. That removes any dead skin, and that can help a lot with callus buildup and corns and other issues. And it also makes it much more effective when you moisturize. This is the season for the holidays. It's also the season for cracked heels. Cracked heels occur because of the cold, dry weather. Our feet are very, very prone to cracked heels, and then they can become quite painful, and you can even get fissures, which is like where the skin tears. And this is especially important if you have diabetes. When you have diabetes, something like a callus or a corn or cracked heels can actually become something quite significant, because when you have diabetes, the immune system doesn't work as effectively. The body's natural defenses don't quite handle these things. So cracked heel can easily then split, and it can get infected very easily. And that is, so good foot hygiene it's important for everyone, but especially also if you do have diabetes.
And I would say for anyone that has diabetes, a simple callus, like she mentioned, could turn into a wound, could turn into amputation. And I would say making sure you're actually checking your feet on a daily basis. Maybe you have lack of sensation in your feet. Just literally looking at them. If you can't access your feet for whatever reason, even having a mirror, small mirror at the bottom is a really great thing. So really pay attention to your feet.
And when you do moisturize, every day, you want to moisturize your feet every day. So nighttime routine, face routine, hands, feet. Our next tip, cut your toenails properly, which is really important, not just so that you can prevent from being like poor snowball here where you're walking on your nails, which can affect your gait, which can then cause foot pain, but also because then if you cut your nails improperly, it makes you really, really prone to ingrown toenails, which can be really, really painful. So to cut your toenails properly, use toenail toenail clippers. Don't use the same clippers that you use for your fingernails, because those are too small. You want to use actual toenail clippers that will encompass the width of your toenail. You want to cut straight across. Don't curve it at the end. That's how you get ingrown toenails.
Also, anyone that gets pedicures at nail salons, something to keep in mind and maybe instruct them as you're watching what's happening. They love to go at the side, and obviously for aesthetic, and I get it. But that is one of the worst things you can do. And if you've had an ingrown toenail, you can attest to how painful it actually is. Another thought, if you're not comfortable or you don't want to cut your toenails, even just filing with a nail file, super easy, straight across.
Another thing that can cause ingrown toenails is cutting them too short. You want to make sure you've got approximately 1 millimeter of white at the end of your toenails. You don't want to cut off all that white that grows at the end. That will make it more prone to becoming ingrown. And finally, you can use a file for those edges.
All right, so avoid being barefoot anywhere you go if possible. That's how you're going to probably pick up a wart, maybe some fungus. Just buy a dollar store pair, any kind of cheap sandal or one that you have, whether you're at the gym or you're in a public pool. Do your best to cover your feet. I know it's maybe something that we take for granted, even in the shower. That's where you're probably going to pick up any sort of bacteria. So just something to keep in mind to avoid any sort of foot condition from that.
And our last tip is to stretch and exercise your feet. Being active, and I know we hear it all again, be active, be active, be active, but it actually plays a very big role in terms of foot care. Now, when I say be active, I don't mean like go to the gym and pump iron every day. You can just do like even 5 minutes of some light foot exercises while you're sitting on the couch watching TV. That can go a really long way. There's a lot of things that you can do. And the reason why that's so important is, first, it helps improve the range of motion in the muscles in our feet, but also in our lower body. So something to keep in mind, like when I'm talking about stretching exercise, we'll show you some foot exercises next, but any kind of activity is good because, again, everything in our body is connected. So if you're strengthening, say, the muscles in your core or in your thighs, that's going to help ease the burden on your feet. So, they kind of share that load of our body. So that's why it's so important to stretch and exercise, because when muscles get overexerted, they get stiff. Strengthening those muscles, stronger muscles can do more and they can hold more weight so they don't get overexerted as easily. And it's like this very vicious cycle. And anyone here that deals with chronic pain can probably relate to just that vicious cycle. When we do stretch and exercise, it helps reduce pain in other parts of our body, like the hips and the back, because our body, like muscles, everything in our body is connected. Everything works in a team. So, when one member of the team doesn't, goes off and doesn't do anything, it puts extra weight and burden on the other members of the team. They got to pick up the slack, and it's hard for them because they weren't trained to do that. And that's how we really get injured. So that's why it's really important that we do stretch and exercise, just simple conditioning exercises. And it's good for us in general, promotes good overall health, blood circulation, and things like that. So what we're going to do is show you probably like, oh, well, what exercises and stretches can I do? Well, we're going to have our lovely Sophie from our clinic. She is going to demonstrate some exercises, and then that way it gives you a little break from hearing us talk nonstop too. The first stretch, it's called the golf ball stretch, but you can do this stretch with anything that rolls. It can be like a cold roller,
a water bottle, 500 milliliter with water frozen, any kind of ball, really.
All right, so we'll try this out, and let us know, Melissa, if you don't hear the audio.
I don't hear any audio at this.
So what is, Sophie here is putting the ball under her foot. And this is great for plantar fasciitis. It helps relieve the any tension and just roll it around.
Also, anyone that has sore feet, stands all day, this is a really great exercise to be doing. Focusing on the heels, focusing on, the forefoot of your foot. Our feet get really tight, and it's something that we should be loosening just like any other part of our body.
So the next exercise that we're going to show you is something that you guys can actually do here at home. You can do it right now on the Zoom call because you can do it when you are sitting down, as you can with the ball rolls, the ball exercise. So there we go. So these are ankle circles, which Sophie is also going to demonstrate. And pretty fast, you're just rolling your ankle, roll it 10 ways one direction, 10 ways the other direction, and then that is slowly keeping motion, and you're connected. Make sure that next exercise that we can do, and now is our toe curls. So this you would do with a towel or a blanket, and again, can do it while you are sitting on the couch watching TV. That's when I do my exercises because, well, I just can't get off the couch. I like TV. So pretty much, and what you're trying to do is you're I grab and more and more. Like make sure you keep on the floor while doing this one at a time, or you can do.
So just to let you know, Erica, it's kind of, your audio is kind of cutting out while you're talking. I'm not sure if there's like an overlap.
I think probably because we have this audio going on in the video. So thank you for letting us know. Well, that's the last of the videos with audio. So I can just quickly, we can just quickly go over again what the exercises that we just demonstrated were. So first is you take your foot, grab the ball, roll, just roll it around, and that will help release, any tension. Really good. It's fantastic for plantar fasciitis. The next exercise, which was the ankle circles, can do while you're sitting down, watching TV on the couch, which is like what I do all the time. That's when I do my exercises. And pretty much just you're rolling your ankle one direction, then the other, both ankles, take turns. And then the one that we just saw, which is the toe curls, you're taking a towel underneath your foot, and then it's like you're trying to grab that towel with your toes. See if you can grab more and more, and make sure you keep your heel planted on the ground while you do that. You can do 1 foot at a time, both feet at a time, whichever you like. And the last exercise that we'll show you is for your calf. There we go. So probably thinking, well, why do I have to stretch my calves? We're talking about feet here. Well, everything in our body is connected. When our calves get tight, it pulls and puts strain on our ankles. And that's one of a key contributing factor to a lot of common foot conditions. It's if you have arthritis, it will make it worse. It will also can contribute to Achilles tendonitis, plantar fasciitis. A lot of common foot conditions and foot pain are connected to tight calves. So this calf stretch can do just kind of rest your hands against the wall, bend your front leg, keep your back foot planted, and then you kind of just shift your weight forward while keeping that back foot planted. And you should see the stretch on that, where the red is showing on that lady. So the back of the lower part of your leg, that's your calf. So try to hold that 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels uncomfortable, hold it less. When you stretch, only go so far as when you start to feel the stretch, and then you stop and hold. Don't like try to keep pushing it, because that's how you can get injured. So those are some of our just 4 quick exercises and stretches that you guys can do at home to help treat and prevent foot pain. And we're also going to give you a link at the end, which are going to have some show some more little exercises that you can do. And that concludes our tips and tricks for taking care of your feet. So we're gonna then take the quiz, but before we do that, we want to make sure that we answer any questions. So we're going to go back into the chat.
Okay, so the first question is, what should be done with the tiny nail on the small toe?
I would say just cut it. You know, I have a very small pinky toenail as well. Just cut it very little. It's not even a full toenail, or file just a little bit off the top.
And just straight across?
Straight across.
Okay. Have you come across people with spina bifida? Have you ever worked with clients coming in?
Yes, we have had people with spina bifida come into the clinic before. You know, it's any like, so I'm just trying, any particular, like,
Slow down.
let's see. So
Melissa, we can't see the question. Was that just the question, or was anything specific about that?
That was all. So I suppose, and so the member who wrote that, you can feel free. I'm still scrolling down as questions are being asked, but feel free to, if you want more information or if you want to elaborate, feel free to pop that in the chat, and I will get through it really super quickly. So again, with this next person, I'm going to say the same thing to you, but their comment was, I can't rotate my left foot, just my right.
So I would say, I can't say exactly what that issue is, but I would say just keep practicing, or, you know, see a doctor or see one of our specialists to figure out what's happening and what's causing you to be unable to rotate your foot.
Okay.
and so, you know, when you're doing exercises and trying to move things, you don't want to force it. You want it to be natural. So try a bit, you know, certainly if it's uncomfortable, stop and see someone. All right.
Yeah, because they have said, just to further, they had said, my right foot works better than my left foot.
Mine does too. Typically we tend to favor one side of our body. One side of our body does tend to be stronger, just as people are right-handed, left-handed. I would say, well, I'm right-legged or left-legged. I'm right-legged, by the way. So that's very, very, very common. And you'll often find, like, let's say if you lifted a weight or so, you'll find like some people, they'll lift like 5 pounds with one arm, 2 pounds with the other, totally normal.
I think those are all the questions.
Well, there's one very excited question. If you want me to read it out, it says, how do I access the link to win?
Of course. So what we're going to do is we are right now going to put that link right here in the chat. So you can go to that link, and then there's a series of questions and answer them, and then put in your email address, or and what I'd say is, like, if anyone's having any difficulties with that, let us know in the chat. Tried, the link doesn't work. Oh no. Okay.
Just hopefully I don't mess everything up. If the meeting ends, that's what happens. Oh yeah, so I think maybe a double click is probably a good one. I had to click it about 2 or 3 times. Okay, so just in a follow-up from the last question about spina bifida, to be more specific, it was, I guess you, do you have an understanding of how to, deal with people who have different foot formations with that same problem? Some people have lean feet, braces can help the foot stay in place, but is there a way to actually straighten the feet from the ankle to the foot, I mean?
Again, I'm not the specialist. I can't speak for sure on this. I would say probably not. The foot is the way it is, but it's the device that will really help with that. So that's what will help on the daily basis. But once the foot is sort of fixed, other than surgery, there's no making it straight.
And another member just followed up with their last comment as well. We'll put it back in there. I see that somebody just asking for the link again. To follow up, they had just posted, I used to be paralyzed in a wheelchair, so my right side got better and my left side didn't. So there's just a little bit of history there.
Okay.
The link just got popped back into the chat. And so just kind of double click or double tap.
And again, to the point of the last comment that you just made, Melissa, again, if you've seen a specialist and you have all the answers, then that's perfect. But if you still want to continue to explore, I really feel like seeing the right person is the key to, figuring out health issues. Sometimes people, get shrugged off, or the practitioner actually doesn't know enough, or, us ourselves, like, are we doing enough for our body? So just some things to consider to sort of get your full mobility that you need and want.
One moment.
And in terms of bunions, sometimes it's not even about the shoes. So true. Sometimes it's hereditary. And it's not something that obviously we can take away. You just hope to catch it in a stage 1 or 2 where it's not so excessively pronounced. And then what it can do is turn your big toe inward, going over your toes or under your toes. Sometimes it's not painful at all, but sometimes it can be very painful if you're using your feet standing, walking on a daily basis. Some exercises would be great. There's also devices like a bunion aligner, for example, that really help to keep your toes in the proper position, or your big toes most specifically. And it's a little sock that you would put on and pushing this toe outward. Also, a bunion splint, something you can wear when you're at home. You can even walk in them, sleep with them. And like anything, it's just an exercise. We don't want that joint to be fixed in this position that will create the bunion to get larger.
And there are exercises that, in fact, our chiropodists do recommend for bunions. So what I would say is if you can, like, Melissa, if you can maybe, what we can send the link to Melissa, and then she can then forward that link on to you as to some specific exercises you can do that can, help to just, strengthen those muscles in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I can do that.
And we're happy to do so. So we're wondering, so we've tried to direct message some people that were having issues with the link. Is there anyone else who still is having issues?
It looks like people are successful. Oh.
All
Okay,
right.
so we have one more person. We'll get you.
All righty. All righty. So, all right. So, Linda. All righty. And I'm going to try to send it again. Now, for those who have, so I'm going to do another. Sorry, anyone else that if you can't do the link, just say didn't in the message thing, so I can try to message again. And if there still are some people, if there still are, then we do have a backup. Awesome, great.
Perfect.
All right, so anyone else, speak now or forever hold your peace. All right. So what we're so then yeah, Victoria.
We'll get you.
Yeah. How are we? And what we're going to do, so if you still can't, we're going to go on to the backup method, which is we're going to show you the questions and put in your, here we go.
There you go.
Yep. Yay, success.
Those tech, what is it? Tech issues.
Oh, it's been so long since I've used Zoom. I used to be very good with Zoom, believe it or not. Apparently not anymore.
Still not good with Zoom, so don't feel bad at all. And I appreciate everybody's patience as we kind of work through those bumps. Thank you. Although it's pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah. So is everyone good? Please say we're good. All right. So we're gonna move on. Great. And so the next part and our last part of our presentation, well, you know, because we've talked a lot about things that you can do at home, but obviously sometimes, you know, there's only so much we can do. So that is where Feet First Clinic comes in. So we're going to now cover the ways that we can help you out.
All right, so starting off with some of the services that we offer. We do biomechanical gait analysis exams. So what that is understanding your gait pattern, watching you walk back and forth. And also to complement that, we have a video gait analysis room. You'll be on a treadmill if you're comfortable with that. You'll see your gait on a large screen TV captured by a few 3D cameras. And from there, the chiropodist will break everything down for you. And any questions, again, along the way, you can feel free to ask them. They'll get more specific. They can slow it down. They can pinpoint whatever you need. That video gait system has the ability to do that. We also focus on custom orthotics as one of the remedies for pain management. Like I mentioned earlier, we do plaster casting and we do have a scanner as well. Our orthotics do take a few weeks to come back. We then bring you back in the clinic to have them fitted, ensure that you actually like them. They fit comfortably in the shoes that you wear, and they're actually comfortable for you as you're walking. Orthopedic footwear is something that we really specialize in and take great pride in fitting people properly. Even if you don't have an appointment with a chiropodist, you can come in and get fitted for a pair of shoes that we sell, or the chiropodist will equip you with the information you need to properly shop for shoes for even the brands that we don't sell, so that you know what to look for when shopping. When it comes to skin and nails, we focus on treatments like nail care, corn care, callus, that's just excess skin on the bottoms of your feet. And sometimes we have specific pressure points, whether it's on the metatarsal or the sides of our foot that actually have excess skin, sorry. And that's because your feet are creating a barrier for you. And it's just natural. But coming for routine foot care will actually help prevent it from coming back as much. If you've ever gone to somewhere like a nail salon, they sometimes use a grater or they sometimes use a buffer. And when you leave that, your feet look amazing because they're creamed and you know they just got washed. But the buffers really don't do much and they're not preventing the skin from coming back as much. And those graters, they actually promote more skin. And also in addition to that, we use the highest standards of sanitization. Our chiropodists have a college of chiropody that they have to, you know, adhere to all of the rules. Also, Health Canada is something that we have to be mindful of as well. So we sterilize all the instruments in an autoclave, ensuring everything is sterile for every single client. Also, we take care of warts. We have a few ways of treating warts from the same way your doctor can, you know, using a freezing agent. We also have something that now doctors cannot use. It's called Cantharone Plus. It's an acid, super effective. I would say almost every client, I can only think of one woman who were unable to treat her warts. They applied the acid actually to the wart. And then within a few days, the wart is going to create a blistering effect. It can be painful, some more than others. Within 2 weeks, you'll come back and we'll actually debride the excess skin that's come. Our goal is to bring the wart up to the surface. It is a virus, and that's really the only way for it to be treated. If we have a really persistent wart, we have other methods like wart excision, wart needling. We typically don't have to go there, but if we do, we definitely will. Or if someone's just not patient and doesn't want to come on a bi-weekly basis, that can be something that we go to. Ingrown toenails, as Erica mentioned previously, do not mess with ingrown toenails. They're super painful and can be reoccurring. So just be mindful of that. Corns are something that we can never permanently remove, unfortunately. We can just go to the root, remove it, and wearing proper footwear or maybe a toe spacer can help, it coming back as quickly. Now, when we're dealing with bunions, plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, those are things that either footwear, for starters, understanding why that problem has occurred, or figuring out how to alleviate any pain with devices like a plantar fasciitis sock, or maybe taping your feet with the proper tape. We use Leukotape. It's very, it's strong. It lasts for about 4 to 5 days. So if you ever have your feet taped here, we'll show you what to do, and then sort of push you along to videos at home until you get the hang of it. It takes a few minutes. So instead of that, if you're in a rush on a daily basis, you can use something called plantar fasciitis socks, which is something you just pop on. And the whole goal is to keep your foot in a neutral position because something's wrong with your foot. So we want to take any pressure or any extra work that your foot has to do and allow it to actually heal. Compression footwear, anyone that stands all day, walks, has poor circulation, or even sits all day, that is something that will really go a long way. If you have any swelling, edema, varicose veins, it can't take anything away like varicose veins. It can only prevent the onset of more. However, some people are hereditary, so regardless if you wear them, you can get more. But for swelling, you would definitely notice a difference. And it's just a sock that's tighter. Some people may have this illusion or envisionment of sort of a beige sort of ugly sock. I can assure you we have those too because they come in skin color, but we have an array of different styles, like super cool, super nice. We size you, there's no charge for that, and it's custom order, so based on your size range is how we figure that out. We have the different swatches so you can actually choose the style that most suits your daily needs. And diabetic footwear, we've already said it before, but we can't stress it enough. Take care of your feet. Having proper treatment, even once a year, twice a year, can go a long way. Maybe not going to a nail salon because they don't have any standards to stand by, and doesn't matter that they're opening the package in front of you, coming on a clean, surface, looking clean. You guys have to seriously take care of your feet and pay a little bit more attention because of the repercussions that can happen due to the things not being sanitary or done properly. So surgical things that we do here, like I mentioned, wart removal, whether it's excision or needling. And also if you have a reoccurring ingrown toenail, it's not the first thing we go to, but if it's habitual, we will suggest surgery and removing it permanently so it will never come back again. And the patient journey. So the initial booking, you'll be greeted by one of the amazing staff here, typically Carol from the phone or email. We'll walk you through the full process, explain everything thoroughly. Your first appointment will be, understanding your medical history, understanding, what you're doing on a daily basis, the footwear you're wearing, and I would encourage you, if you're not wearing them, to bring them. Assessing your feet, providing you with a full assessment, consult, and then treatment if that's what you need. So removing corns, calluses, ingrown toenails, and putting you on an effective treatment plan. So whether it's coming every 6 months, every 2 weeks, depending if it's a wart, the chiropodist will guide. And of course, you guys can be the judge as to what you need for your feet. And then lastly, an action plan for you to take away and actually do on your time on a daily basis, ensuring that you actually have proper foot health. And we do our best to really promote the things that are important on social media platforms. As you can see here, the website, if you go to feetfirstclinic.com, we've newly updated, and Erica had a really big part in that. And I want to say it's super thorough, super amazing, and we're still working on it as we speak. We're always a work in progress, but it has a lot of information and really breaks a lot of our conditions down We try to be like the encyclopedia for all foot care. That is our goal. So we have taken a little break on Instagram just to focus on the website and a few internal things, but we will be ramping back up this Sunday. So check us out.
And for those that wants to know some more stretches and exercises that you can do, not even just for your feet, but just, you know, for the rest of your body, you go to our Pinterest board, and we put the link up there. We have an entire board devoted to stretches that, and they have little infographics that you can go take a look at. You can even look on your phone, and these are things that you can do at home, because again, we really want to, we're big on making sure that you guys have what you need to take care of your feet. So that concludes everything. So wondering, any questions?
Thank you. So one question is, and I'm smiling only because I hear you. What if you don't like the file and razor used on your feet?
So I would say here, we use a scalpel and then put a fresh blade on your feet. If you don't like that, we were unable to do the treatment, unfortunately. We do have files, and we do have, like, just to describe, like a Dremel machine, if you know what that looks like. So we don't have to, but I would say that would be the beginning, and we usually finish off with either a hand file, and all of our utensils are steel. That's how we sanitize them and properly wash them before going in the sterilization. It is literally, everything we do, I can promise you, is painless. If it isn't painless, even a corn removal, anything on your feet, like, guaranteed it's painless. The only thing that could be painful is the ingrown toenail. If it is so painful that you can't bear the treatment, they will do a local anesthesia into the toe. So the needle may be a bit painful for sure, because that's a very tender area, but then upon treatment, you won't feel a thing.
And if you're like me and you have ticklish feet, I can attest arthropodists are really good at that. So it feels so much better than like a pedicure at the salon. It's done right.
Excessive sweating and odor. So I would say a foot powder is probably necessary, or a foot spray. We really believe in Gait. They've been around for like 140 years. They're an amazing product. So those are the two things. Also socks. Hopefully you have cotton socks. That really goes a long way. And it doesn't have to be all cotton, but having more cotton in your socks also goes a long way.
Yeah. And if you want more tips about, like, with foot odor, on our website, we actually had some blog articles recently within the past few months on foot odor and excessive foot sweat. It's called plantar hyperhidrosis. So there's some tips there in terms of things that you can do, and as well as some more information about that. Any more questions?
So far, there are none.
Well, I just want to thank every single one of you for joining us today. It is truly a pleasure to be invited here. Thank you, Melissa, for thinking of us and inviting us. And if any of you have any questions, feel free to email us. We're happy to answer and share any information that we have. And thank you.
And we will contact the winner of the knowledge check through Melissa by email.
All right. I'm excited. We also wanted to just take a moment and thank both of you, Erica and Bianca, for coming out. It was an incredibly informative evening. I actually learned a lot. And then at the end, I was actually kind of laughing because full judgment on my part. So, you know, hold it against me. But even myself, when I read the comment about some of those tools you're using, I think that we are so used to the typical, salon tools. And I think that chiropodists are using something that's very, very different than what we're used to. And so it's getting that connection out of our minds before jumping into something like this. Because I admit I'm thinking about that plastic scary thing that I don't want anybody coming near me with. And that's not at all what it is.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. but thank you so much for coming out
Our
tonight.
pleasure.
And, like we were saying, if you have any comments, questions, feel free to email me. Feel free to go on
our
our website.
Yeah, it will say book an appointment, but that's just our means of come straight to our email, ask a question, say you're from this presentation. All of us are all over the info@feetfirstclinic.com. So we respond by end of day for sure every single day. Thank you so much for all the compliments. Really warms our heart. And again, I look forward to hopefully meeting you one day and just say you're from this presentation. Thank you, Melissa.
Yes, thank you so much. And we'll see you again soon. We'll see you for the
All
next
right.
community meeting.